Now, let's be real. At some point or another, we've all asked ourselves the question, do I really need this pistol for airsoft? Sometimes buying gear can feel a bit like throwing money into the void as we try to complete our loadouts. Have we just gone too far? Well, today we're going to settle this and not only explain both sides of the argument, but also where we stand on the issue and how you can make an informed choice for yourself. Let's start with the obvious fact that if there wasn't a need or want for pistols within airsoft, then there probably wouldn't be a market for them. So why do so many players make sure they have a well-performing sidearm as part of their loadout? Well, let's not forget that airsoft is ultimately a simulation sport, and a reliable sidearm is simply part of a typical setup. And as a wise man once said,
switching to your pistol is always faster than reloading.
Having a backup weapon you can switch to in the event that your primary has a stoppage can allow you to stay in the fight at all times. Not only that, but pistols are far easier to maneuver within tight spaces, like within buildings or around corners and cover. Airsoft pistols available today are made in vast ranges of platforms and styles, so there's bound to be something that works for you. On the flip side of this, there are quite a few players who believe that purchasing an airsoft sidearm is essentially a waste of money. But why do they think this? Well, if we make it about percentages, then it's clear that the vast majority of your time is going to be spent with your primary airsoft gun in your hands. A pistol really only comes out in a few rare situations, and realistically, a full-sized rifle is often much better equipped to deal with the problems anyway. It's also worth noting that most pistols run on some form of gas, and if you're running an AEG or a spring loadout, then purchasing one of these pistols means you now have to start spending money on gas to keep them powered. Another point that needs to be made is the reliability aspect. Gas blowback pistols are notorious for literally recoiling themselves to death if they aren't built well, or just simply leaking gas, and keeping one properly maintained can be quite the chore. Finally, as mentioned in our video on airsoft gun types, gas guns can be prone to power loss in extreme temperatures, so if you want one, make sure it'll be suitable for your climate. So where do we come out on all of this? We believe there is absolutely no substitute for having a sidearm in your loadout. Being first in a firefight in many cases comes down to being more prepared than the other person. Now, we get that they won't magically make you the best player at your field, but having a pistol will give you options during combat that you wouldn't have otherwise. Just like with anything else, our advice is that you include handgun training into your practice sessions if you want to optimize your transitions and reloads. But that's just our opinion in the sea of all the others. So how are you going to decide for yourself? It really does come down to how competitive you are, but if you're a player who wants to get any edge that they can, then a pistol is really going to get you out of a lot of jams, literally and figuratively. Obviously, budget is a factor. CO2 doesn't grow on trees yet. We're close, but we've yet to successfully breed a CO2 tree that doesn't keep stealing the gas for itself. Finally, you need to consider if you're willing to put in the time to become proficient with your sidearm. Adding a second gun to your weapon flow is as complicated as it sounds, and it'll only be a useful addition if you spend the time to make it so. On that note, if you do have a sidearm and you're wondering how to go about upgrading your skills with it, then look no further than this video here on some essential pistol training drills. Thanks for joining today's lesson. Class is dismissed.